and welcome to Dead Man Talking. Tonight's story is another fantastic short story from the wonderful mind of Kate Monet. As ever, please do let us know down below in the comments what you thought. Please do like and share. It really does help build the channel and our community further. And of course, don't forget to hashtag TeamFEAR. As ever, if you enjoy this story, please do take time to check out the link I'll leave in the description box below, which will take you over to Kate's wonderful Reddit, and you can lose yourself for a good hour or two on the list of short stories that she's wrote there. And why not hit the upvote like button? It really does help them out. And so, with that aside, let's get into tonight's story, entitled, I'm the caretaker of a Labyrinth prison. Our newest inmate isn't what I expected. Let's get straight into that. I know what you're thinking. Working in a labyrinth must pay really well. I hate to burst your bubble, but it doesn't. Well then, surely the health and retirement benefits are great. They're not. Okay then, you continue to think, becoming increasingly irritated. There must be something to outweigh the experience of living out your days in a Escher-like maze, cleaning up the sloppy remains of prisoners mauled to death by ravenous Minotaurs, not to mention the buckets of waste that they leave behind. And you would be right, there's free coffee. I have to make it, of course, but the break room is perpetually stocked with dark roast, medium roast, breakfast blend, flavoured coffees, a veritable rainbow of variety. And when I get tired of plain coffee, I just check the fridge. It's always stocked with every flavour of creamer you could think of, even as seasonal ones like pumpkin spice or eggnog. We don't usually have seasons in the maze, and so I just use whatever I feel like whenever I damn please. There's also a few fresh packs of cookies every week, but for some reason, there's only ever Pepper Ridge Farm Milano cookies. I got real sick of those back around my third year as caretaker. The break room is where I spend most of my time. I'm not tending to the labyrinth and its denizens. It's a little outpost that sits exactly in the centre of the maze. I've watched more than my fair share of dishevelled prisoners run up with relieved faces, only to read the "Employees Only" sign. Sometimes they'll bang on the locked door or wave desperately at me through the plexiglass window, begging me to let them in. I wouldn't mind at least sharing my coffee, but I couldn't risk it. If the Minotaurs had a reason to break in, they would make an absolute mess. I can deal with a lot, but I can't deal with the idea of my little sanctuary being torn apart by those bloodthirsty arseholes. My own living quarters are rather inconveniently located near the entrance. Inconvenient because the entrance is where most of the prisoners end up eviscerated, and it's not exactly pleasant to wake up to those screams. It's even less pleasant to accidentally step into a pile of human viscera after just waking up. Plus, it's a pretty long walk to get my morning coffee. My room is very small and cramped, with a single cot, a space-conservative bathroom, and a room for my cleaning cart. That's a big reason why I spend so much time in the break room. It's not like I even have any perks from being near the entrance, as I'm only allowed outside the labyrinth once a year. The warden, who sends my annual performance reviews via scrolls flown in by carrier pigeons, says every year that I could get 2 days off if my performance were to improve. But it's been nearly 5 years and I've only ever had 1 day off per year. I always thought I did pretty good at this job, good enough to deserve 2 days. It kind of hurts never feeling like your hard work is truly appreciated. I suppose it doesn't matter now though, not after the last prisoner we had. I was drinking a nice fresh cup of French roast and reading a particularly good Reddit thread. Yes, I have a good data plan. No, it's never enough. I had just reached a really juicy anecdote when the war horn sounded. That's how new prisoners entering the labyrinth are announced. I have no idea who blows the horn or where from, but you can't miss it no matter where you are in the maze. And this lets the Minotaurs know that feeding time is on, and lets me know that I should be grabbing my mop. And with a huff, I put down my coffee, fastened my coveralls and over my shoulders, and slipped on my rubber boots. The warden hasn't sprung for security cameras, and so the job can be pretty dangerous. You never know if you'll run into a prisoner who could potentially knock you out or strangle you to death if you're not on your guard. The other thing is that, the Minotaurs aren't particularly picky about who they kill. They won't usually go after me, especially when there's an actual prisoner to detain and, devour. But I have received a pretty hearty smack or shove that's left me with some nasty bruises. Once I got a hoof to the small of my back, and that put me out of commission for a couple of weeks. The Labyrinth had never reeked so bad before. It made your eyes water before the smell even hit your nostrils. Anyway, I poked my head out of the break room and slipped out with my cleaning cart, locking the door behind me. I began wandering the sconce-lined halls, listening closely for signs of any altercation. Blood-curdling screams are usually a good indicator that a prisoner has met their fate within the maze. Cautiously, I made my way towards the entrance. It was about an hour's walk from the break room to my quarters. After these many years, I practically knew every turn by heart. Even so, it was still possible to get turned around, and so I concentrated on the path as much as the inevitable signs of carnage. It was for this reason that the child running across the next intersection ahead startled me so thoroughly. I stopped dead in my tracks, expecting to hear the lumbering of Minotaurs on the chase, but there was nothing. I left my cart and ran to the corner to look around it, hoping to catch a glimpse of the girl. I let out an unintentional little shriek of alarm when I felt a tug on the leg of my coveralls. "Jesus H. Christ!" I shouted, leaping back. The little girl was right in front of me, smiling with a blood-smeared face. She was absolutely covered in gore. Her blonde pigtails were like two brushes dipped in red paint. "Hey, mister," she said cheerfully. "You don't look like a monster. Are you nice?" Yeah, of course I am, sweetheart. What have you got in your hand there?" She held up a long, wicked horn that ended in a pulpy mass of stringy flesh. My typically iron stomach did a couple of cartwheels, but I kept my coffee down. "Those bad bullmen came after me, so I took this from one and killed them." She gave me a little demonstration, stabbing at the air with the horn in all directions. "It was easy. They are very tall and fall down very hard. Then you just get them in the eyes." "Oh yeah? Well done," I said. I sneaked a peek down the hall the girl had come from and saw a Minotaur's head poking out from just beyond the next turn, eyes gouged and tongue lolling. "Say, how many did you kill?" "3. She held out her other hand to illustrate the number. "It's okay though, because they were monsters. I got in trouble for killing a mean, rich monster before. He was trying to do bad things to Mummy, and I protected her. The person in the black robe said I had to come here, because it was a bad thing to try and kill the mean man. They said I had to take an extra long time out. But Mummy said it's good to kill monsters, and I believe Mummy most of all." "Sure," I agreed with a serious nod. "Mummies are almost always right, aren't they?" "Mummy is. Hey, mister, do you have something I can drink? I'm thirsty." "Well..." The little girl pouted her lower lip and widened her big eyes, and I found I just couldn't say no. "Oh, come on then. I hope you like coffee." She smiled and stuck her free hand in mine, cradling her bloody trophy to her chest with the other, like a doll. By the time we got to the break room, she was clearly exhausted, though not complaining. And despite feeling a measure of guilt as I led the girl into the outpost, I figured I wouldn't be reprimanded. After all, my duty was to clean up after the Minotaurs when they were done with their job. But they hadn't done their job, had they? The girl then sat at the little booth table by the window while I made a fresh pot of coffee. "Do you like Irish cream?" I asked, taking a bottle of creamer from the fridge to show her. "What's Irish cream?" she asked in return, crinkling her nose. What about caramel?" Caramel. I love it." I took out the caramel creamer and poured it liberally into her cup of coffee, and then added a less generous amount to my own. I stirred the cups and brought them over to the table. The girl picked hers up and happily took a long drink. When she put it down, she looked both pleased and puzzled. "It's kinda yucky," she said, "but I kinda like it." "That's coffee for you," I replied. "That's coffee for you," she repeated with a giggle and took another drink. "What's your name, little miss?" "I'm Emma. What's your name?" "I'm I shook my head. It had been a long time since I'd used my name. I didn't browse Facebook anymore, and the last time I'd spent my annual day off with someone I knew, or who knew my name, had been years ago. Drew, I finally said, relieved. My name is Drew. Hi, Drew. It's nice to meet you. Can I take a nap? Well, I suppose you can. Okay, she replied, and promptly curled up on the booth seat and fell asleep. I leaned over the table to view her, a small thing drenched in blood, still clutching the horn of a dead Minotaur, and my heart just melted. I have a kid, a girl, much like Emma. She will be 13 this year. I don't know what she looks like now, and just thinking about her is pretty painful. On my first day off from the job, my wife forbade me from speaking with her. The year after that, I found out that my wife wasn't my wife anymore. And after that, I found out I was declared legally dead. During my last day off, I just sat on the beach on the island that the Labyrinth is on, and chatted to the old captain who ferries the prisoners, and watched the most beautiful sunset I'd ever seen. This year, I was planning on building a sandcastle. It's not like I couldn't reach out to my girl. I could send a Facebook message or a Snapchat, whatever that is. But I found out long ago that those messages don't get you far when you're already a ghost to people. My little girl, Matilda. She had already accepted that her old man was gone. I never meant to leave her. I'd just gone out for a pack of smokes and run into the wrong person, and bam! Here I am doing the dirty work at the most secure prison in the entire world. Well, former most secure prison in the entire world. Emma suddenly made a little cooing noise, arising from her brief slumber. She smacked her lips and rubbed her eyes. Mr. Drew, she asked meekly, can I leave now? I want to go back home to Mummy. I sighed. You have to find a way out, Emma. I can't help you with that. But there's so many ways to go. I know. That's how it is. You got to make the best possible decisions for you. Her eyebrows knit together into a fierce expression of determination. Okay, I'll do it. I'll find my way out. She hopped up from the table and struck out her rust-red hand. I took it in my own and shook. Bye, Mr. Drew. Thanks for the caramel coffee. Bye, Miss Emma, I said, feeling my throat tighten. And good luck. Keep that horn with you. You never know when you might need it. She nodded and went to the door. Reaching high for the handle, she gave me one last smile, and then she was gone. I watched her golden head bob past the window, and then I cried into my hands. I can't exactly say why I was so sad. Maybe it was knowing that I was completely alone now. Maybe it was a reminder of my own family. Or maybe it was that I knew Emma's difficult road wouldn't end with the maze. In any case, I poured out the remainder of my coffee and walked back to my quarters where I fell asleep. The cleaning could wait. I woke up some time later to a gentle pecking on my door. I reached from my cot to open it and allowed the pigeon to flutter in. He hopped onto my knee, dropping a thin scroll sealed with wax, and then cooed and flew off. I read through the message several times with a growing sense of dread. I guess I shouldn't have been all that surprised. The truth is, I never knew where the Minotaurs came from. I suppose I assumed they'd been around for just about forever, seeing as they are supposed to be some kind of mythological beast. In any case, it doesn't look like I'll be the caretaker of the Labyrinth much longer. The warden's words congratulated me on my promotion to prison security guard. It felt like a hearty kick to the groin. I've read those words again and again, and the fear for my humanity hasn't lessened any. I don't even get my annual day off, no more time off from here on out, and certainly no leisurely coffee breaks. I feel sick thinking about what I will be subsisting on once I become one of those monsters. The truth is, I probably deserve this. After all, I'd found my way into the maze and never worked up the strength or courage to get myself out. I didn't fight to see my family again. I might as well live out my days wandering these halls as a mindless beast when I've acted like one all along. For all I know, the transformation will happen before little Emma finds her escape. I'm not sure I'd even try to fight her off if we were to cross paths again. Perhaps the other Minotaurs looked into the eyes of that sweet, fearless little girl and had the same gut-wrenching thought that I'm having now. She's not the prisoner. I am. Wow. Absolutely wonderful and creative story there by Kate Monet. Thank you ever so much, Kate, for the permission to allow me to narrate this wonderful story of yours. As ever, guys and girls, you know the drill. Please do let us know what you thought down below in the comments. Please do like and share. It really does help build the channel and our community further. And of course, don't forget to hashtag TeamFEAR. I hope you're all doing wonderfully and had a fantastic week. But above all, remember, be safe, not sorry.